Oh man, what's that? It's a big green deck, man. We got big old green. We did mono black aggro, mono black stompy, and just to shake things up on these budget builds, we're gonna do mono green aggro, just to keep these old school budget decks flowing. We put this together here. And this deck is mighty fine. It's got some fun things to deal with the changing and new game. And as again, guess what? This deck is under $80. Right here, you hear it. Actually, this isn't under $80. It was like 89 something, I think, all in. And we packed it with as much value as we could get into it without going over $100, just like our black deck. And boy, is this fun. We're going to get right into our creature base. And we'll talk about it as we go through it. We have Hex Drinker here. This is a nice Modern Horizons card. For 1 green, you get a 2/1 with level up. So this is a great way to just push your mana into something. So levels 3 to 7, you get protection from instances of 4/4. So to level up, put a sorcery speed. But in any case, by turn 3, you can level this thing up to the second level where it's going to become a 4/4 and basically have protection from instants. And then at 8, protection from everything, it's a 6/6, but you're probably not going to take it there. I mean, I wouldn't want to use 8 mana that way. But anyways, we have 2 Hex Drinkers. So 2 Hex Drinkers. Pelt Collector, our other 1-drop in here, is an Elf Warrior. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pelt Collector's, put a 1/1 counter on Pelt Collector. As long as Pelt Collector has 3 or more 1/1 counters on it, it has Trample. So we have 1, 2, 3 Pelt Collectors. And there's 1 in the sideboard. Strangleroot Geist has been amazing in this deck. This haste, this undying. This is almost like an old school, it being just 2 green mana. This reminds me, like, it's almost, especially with that haste and undying, this is such a powerfully good card. I actually did a white and green spirit-based commander deck. There was a lot of enchantments and spirits. And this card was great in that deck because it's a spirit. And that haste, undying, to enter the battlefield, and you get a 3/2 if this dies. So that is just amazing. You know we're running 4. And another great show-stopping 2-drop right here. We have Werewolf Pack Leader. It's a lady. It's a wolf. It's a wolf lady. Look at that. She's got delicate wrists and sharp fangs. Now, what were we talking about? Pet Cemetery? That looks like a Pet Cemetery thing. Did you ever see Pet Cemetery 2? Huh? Pet Cemetery is the theme of the day, kids. But in Pet Cemetery 2, Edward Furlong's character has a nightmare where his mother has the head of a wolf, or like a wolf dog thing. But anyways, you got pack tactics. You got whenever Werewolf Pack Leader attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater this combat, draw a card. We're going to be doing that. We're drawing cards. So we're going to need plenty of paper, plenty of pencils, drawing cards. We're not painting them. We're drawing. So for 3 and a green, until end of turn, Werewolf Pack Leader has base power and toughness 5/3, gains trample, and is not a human. Very interesting. We have 3 of those. And oh my gosh, this is an expensive card in here. But guess what? We even sideboard this one sometimes. We got a few of these Tarmogoyfs floating around, and we want to use them. So 2 of them found their way into here. Tarmogoyf's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. Now, we're going to be running a lot of like instance and pump spells in here and things like that. So our graveyard is going to have a few things in it, but our opponent's graveyard is probably going to have land, artifact, things like that. However, we're running 2 Tarmogoyfs because he can be a boomer, or it can be a boomer later game. Scavenging Ooze, 1 and a green. This one is counterintuitive to Tarmogoyf, true, but use it wisely. It's kind of that situation. So for a green, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain a life. So this is one you'd use sparingly and smartly. Running 2 of those. We have Groundbreaker here. Now here's the The green elemental 6/1. This is like, what is that? Ball lightning. This is a green ball lightning. So this 6/1 trample haste at end of turn, sacrifice groundbreaker. We can easily give this thing +1/+1 counters the turn it comes out and make it huge. So I've done some serious damage with these groundbreakers, and it's real satisfying because of these 1-drops we have where we can get devotion counters, like Aspect of Hydra. Aspect of Hydra sets up a situation where you can really beef these up. So they're really nice. And we're just running 2 of those, though. And we have Old Growth Troll here. This is a great card in the deck. It's a 4/4. It's a 3-drop. It's got trample, so that's great for us. And when Old Growth Troll dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment. With Enchant Forest you control, an enchanted forest has tap, add 2 green, and pay 1 tap, sacrifice this land, create a tapped 4/4 green warrior troll creature token with trample. So that's really cool to be able to create that trample troll. A trample troll. Hey, Joey, you like a trample troll? All right, we're running 2 of those. We have Steel Leaf Champion. This is our Elf Knight. It's a 5/4, and it can't be blocked with creatures with power 2 or less. So that is good. You can't get this thing weenie blocked. And this is a savior in the deck, and this is going to win games, because chump blocking, no. 1, 2, 3 of those. And right here we have the Questing Beast. We have 1 copy of Questing Beast because it's legendary, and I was like, man, we got to keep that budget down. And Questing Beast just had a slight spike in its price. But we have this nice foiled Questing Beast here. It's got Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. That's good for us. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control cannot be prevented. Very good for us. And whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. Very good for us. Now here we're going to get into our spells. Our non-creature spells, rather. And we're going to begin those with Gut Shot. So this is, we can pay this with life. So Phyrexian mana is good. Gut Shot deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So this will remove a monkey. Basically, that's what that's there for. That will remove a 1-drop. Or not a 1, I'm sorry. A 1-power creature. Or if something blocks and gets down to 1, we can instantly snap it and get it out of here. Just to get that extra damage. For 1 green, we have Blossoming Defense. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn. 1, 2 of those. Aspect of Hydra. Excellent in the deck. Real Workhorse. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is your devotion to green. 1, 2, 3 of those. We have Rancor. Excellent in the deck as well. Giving these creatures trample that don't have it is amazing. So enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. When Rancor is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Rancor to its owner's hand. 4 Rancor, of course. Because we want to attach those. In fact, we're going to be attaching them so much, we're probably going to have them return to our hand. We're going to always have 4 of them in our hand. That's how much we're going to attach them. Well, I'm just kidding. That's not necessarily how much we're going to attach them. But if it were, that'd be okay. Vines of Vastwood. For 1 green, target spell can't be the target of, or target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. Now, if it's kicked, that creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. So this is a great kicker, especially with our trample creatures. We've got 2 of those. We have Might of Old Krosa. For 1 green, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. But if you cast this spell during the main phase, that creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn instead. We're running 2 Old Krosas. And to keep things moving along slowly and grease the wheels of this wonderful deck, we are running 2 Abundant Harvests. So that's choose land or non-land. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card of the chosen kind. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Those are great in the deck. Pseudo lands, those cantrips like that are so great in these modern decks. Abundant Harvest is just so good in green. Scale up. Till end of turn, target creature you control becomes a green worm with base power and toughness 6/4. And then Overload is each creature. And I have overloaded the deck a couple times with 3 and like 5 creatures out sometimes. And I've done it a few times and it was pretty dang sweet. And yeah, quite a thing. A worm army, you know. You ever see the Garrick worm army? You ever see somebody do that? Holy moly. Let's get into the land base. Here's a stupid land. But I got a pretty version of it. Look at that. Nice Magic the Gathering. Oh, very nice version, right? I don't even know what that is. It's from 2007. Some kind of promo or something. It's Treetop Village. It comes into play tapped. Tap, and you can add a green mana to your pool. 1 and a green, Treetop Village becomes a 3/3 green ape creature with trample until end of turn, but it's still a land. So we got that 3/3 trample for 1 and a green. We can put a scale up on that. So say we do Treetop Village, make it the ape, put scale up on it, and put Might of Old Krosa on top of it, like that. And this isn't like an infect deal either. So we're doing straight damage here. Like, that's what's cool about it. Like, it's the deck's just dealing out. Because if you're doing infect, the creatures aren't good. But in this, you have good value creatures. So we have 2 Treetop Village to do that, kind of, to go to town that way. And then for our regular land, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 16, 17 with Treetop Village. So 17 lands seems light for a Stompy deck, but it isn't because we have Abundant Harvest to make up for that. So that will find us lands if we need one. 2 Abundant Harvest does the job. Now let's talk about the sideboard and what we have in there. We have Pelt Collector. So we know what that does. Now Dryad Militant, it's 1 green or 1 white. If an instant or sorcery card would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So, very interesting. This is not going to want to be in the deck too often with Tarmogoyf. But in decks that want to play out of the graveyard, this is going to be a very brutal little Dryad soldier here. We have 3 of those that can be put in and out of the deck for a 2/1, 1-drop that has that excellent ability of keeping instants and sorceries out of the graveyard. Speaking of graveyard hate, we have Soul Guide Lantern. Oh my goodness, we got card draw. We got exile opponent's graveyard. We got sacrifice. When it enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. So that 1 mana, this does a lot here. And this dual sacrifice, I mean, very good. So we're running, I thought there was 2 of those. Nope, just 1. We have 1 Soul Guide Lantern. And for a 0 mana, we have Tormod's Crypt along with the Soul Guide Lantern. So here's something to go against Tron. So this shuts Tron down. And like I said, these old kind of budget deck archetypes, I'm trying to like update them and keep them rocking and bopping. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, slick cats? We got Void Mirror. So whenever a player casts a spell, if no colored mana was spent to cast it, counter the spell. So this right here will have to be dealt with. And this will force like a Tron player to have something in their deck to deal with artifacts, which they do. So 2 Void Mirrors. We have Thrun the Last Troll. For 2 and 2 green, Thrun the Last Troll can't be countered. He's a 4/4. Thrun can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. And for 1 and a green, we can regenerate Thrun. So this is good for us because in many ways, this is like a creature that mid-game can come out and we don't have to necessarily worry about it so much. And we can keep pumping into it, whatever we may need. This does find its way in the deck a lot. I'd almost call it a not a sideboard card in some ways. So we have Nature's Claim. We're just running 1 of these because we're not wanting people to gain too much life, but this is going to deal with an artifact. We have Destroy Target Artifact or Enchantments. Controller gains 4 life. And then we have 2 more scale ups to add if we want, and a Scavenging Ooze, which would go in when Tarmogoyf comes out. So there is our sideboard. And of course, like Bousseiju would be great in here. There's plenty of ways you can make us put some endurance. Plenty of ways you could really optimize a deck like this. You could go an infect route, certainly. I played a lot of like green and black, green and red, green and blue. Infect is super fun. But we don't do blue decks on this channel. We don't deal in blue. And that's what makes us fun here, right? So what are we at? What's our time at? Oh, we're like at 15. I did so good. But we have more things to go through. I'm going to go ahead probably tomorrow and do a deck video about what I would consider to be like my most consistent and best deck. So tomorrow, that's what we're gonna do. Is maybe I'll do my most consistent, like meanest deck that I bust out like when I'm playing like in high powered situations or like playing against like top level stuff. So I will be showing that deck tomorrow. We'll go ahead and we'll do some gold fishing with this mono green Stompy aggro. Again, thanks for joining me. I always like suggestions. You can find the deck list in the description and go and look at it yourself. Also, what was I going to say? What else? Oh, yeah. Suggestions, comments, I read them all bi-weekly.